I always look forward to the vibe shift with this show every single afternoon because it is a different vibe.
Oh, yeah.
The 2 o'clock hour, it's a different vibe than the 2-hour show I just wrapped up with Steely. It's not to say one is better or worse than the other. They both have their perks. I love them both for their own reasons. But the vibe shift is here.
Man, what did y'all talk about today? I'm going through the text line. I see Kanye West. I see Dua Lipa. I see Neil Diamond. What y'all get into today?
We were trying to identify the musical genii, that are still with us in the land of the living.
And nobody said Eminem and Kendrick Lamar?
Nobody said Eminem and Kendrick Lamar. I didn't really, I felt obligated not to throw anyone into that conversation that's less than 50 years old. Like the names we mentioned, the three names that we prominently mentioned were Stevie Wonder,
okay,
Bob Dylan,
okay,
and I think the other one was Billy Joel. That's right.
Well,
those are three that are just kind of objectively amongst the greatest musicians that are still alive today.
Well, did we say musical or lyrical?
Musical.
Oh, okay.
So that encompasses,
okay. I got it.
That encompasses both lyricism and instrumentation.
Okay. I mean, by the way, Eminem is 53 years old.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Gosh. Guy's getting old.
Yeah, if we're talking about lyrical geniuses, like Kanye is not a musical genius. He is a lyrical genius, though. Like that I would say. But no, I can't argue with what you put together there.
I stated my case for Billy Joel as the greatest living musician. He gets the slight edge over Dylan in my mind. But, 20 years from now, I have no doubt, if you and I are still doing this show together, which, let's face it, is not likely, Grayson seems destined for the big time. But if we still are doing
and you're
this show,
not?
if we still are doing this show 20 years from now, we'll probably be having those conversations about the musicians that you and I grew up with.
Oh, definitely.
Grew up listening to. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line. And here on this show, here on Locked In, we are not here to discuss musical geniuses, at least not today. Let's talk ball. Let's talk OU football recruiting, most specifically, because there was some movement over the weekend, Grayson. First things first, want to remind you all that the show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno today and every day. If you're in the market for a new ride, GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and the folks out at Dorsey Jones are eager to assist you before, during, and after the buying process as they get you behind the wheel of a GMC that suits your lifestyle. Head out to El Reno, check out Dorsey Jones. We appreciate their partnership here on the show. And we were banging the drum for it for the last couple of weeks, Grayson. It came to fruition over the weekend. Cash's finest, Kenyon Sweat, received an offer from the illustrious University of Oklahoma on Saturday afternoon. And very quickly thereafter, the expert predictions in favor of the Sooners began to roll in. He is scheduled to be on campus for 2 game day visits this fall. He'll be at the New Mexico game on September 19th. He will be at the Texas A&M game, and I believe that's October 31st? No, that's the South Carolina game. Texas A&M game is that might be in November. Gosh, that might be a late season game. But he's going to be on campus twice, and it already kind of feels like this is going to be a pretty open and shut deal with Kenyon Sweat.
Yeah, I don't see any theatrics in this one. I mean, as a matter of fact, there's not really much depths that we are probably going to have to go to in breaking down the Kenyon Sweat recruitment from here on out. Local-ish kid. Cash, yeah, that's considered local. Local kid, in-state lines, coveted the offer. We've talked about this enough to know, Parker Thune. When you see a kid that's coveting the offer that much, especially when it's a kid in the state, it's going to be pretty open and shut, like you put it. There's nothing really more to add there. Somebody might try to come in and who was already there and say, like, hey, we'll give you more money to come over here. But sometimes you just can't convince the heart to do something that the heart doesn't want to do. And it seems like that's what Kenyon Sweat is leaning toward, and good for him, man. I'm glad for a kid who has a goal, who has something he covets, and he gets it. So good on the kid. Seems like he's going to be a Sooner.
And I think it's important in that regard, too, that Oklahoma got in early. They were the 6th scholarship offer for Kenyon Sweat as of this weekend.
Nice.
And so even with in-state kids, if they covet the Oklahoma offer, but the Sooners have been preceded in offering that prospect by some of the national powers. Texas A&M, Florida, Miami, Michigan, like big-name programs, Oregon, etc. Then, things can get a little bit tricky. But when Oklahoma beats all the other blue bloods and all the other upper-tier P4 programs to offer a kid within state lines, you can pretty well count on the Sooners to take care of business, and that seems like what they are intent to do here with Kenyon Sweat.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Oklahoma kind of monitored this one and then pulled the trigger. Now they didn't wait an exorbitant amount of time to do that, which is good on their part because I don't like stringing a kid along and, kind of playing puppet games with them and whatnot. So I'm glad they got in when they did. What took them so long, though?
I'm not sure. I mean, I like to think all the noise that the fan base started making for Kenyon Sweat over the last couple of weeks kind of accelerated the process a little bit. And I think this offer was inevitable. I thought he was going to get it at some point. It was just a question of when they were going to feel confident enough in the film and in what the film showed to pull the trigger on Sweat. But I think going back to a conversation that I believe we had on Thursday, I think what this shows you is that Oklahoma is comfortable making accommodations for Sweat in their wide receiver class, despite some of the other big names that they're in good shape with. Carson Lacombe, for instance, down in San Antonio is a guy that comes to mind. Dedrick Kimbrough in the state of Alabama. And so
there was a write-up on him on Rivals earlier today.
Really?
Yeah.
Another one slanted in Oklahoma's direction?
I wouldn't even say slanted at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that kid's getting down to campus on September 19th, and I bet you he doesn't leave without committing.
Okay.
I bet you Dedrick Kimbrough is committed to Oklahoma by the end of September.
Okay.
And we'll just kind of see what the timeline looks like for Kenyon Sweat. It can be hard to tell with kids like this, whom Oklahoma gets in on right as their recruitment is really, really exploding. Because sometimes they're very, very quick to just shut it down and call it a wrap. Mm-hmm. Elijah Thomas in recent years comes to mind as an example of that phenomenon. Some guys are more thorough. Some guys take their time. For every Graydon Howell, who's another guy that committed pretty quickly after he received the offer this past cycle, for every Graydon Howell, there may be a guy like, or every Zizi Okafaleze for that matter, there may be a guy like Cooper Hackett who, it's clear Oklahoma's where he wants to be, but he doesn't make any snap decisions. He waits it out, just kind of see how everything flows with the remainder of his recruitment and any other interested parties. And, I mean, in Hackett's case, he even committed to another school, Texas Tech, before he flipped to the Sooners. So
had to lock in that money, though.
Yeah. I don't know what the timeline is going to be as far as Sweat jumping on board with the Sooners, but it does feel like at this point there's real strong odds that's going to happen.
If there's somebody that was going to upset the apple cart, though, who would that be in your mind?
I would say Michigan. If Michigan got involved, then I think they could mount a challenge because his father is from the state of Michigan and a big Michigan fan. So Kenyon Sweat grew up pulling for Michigan.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if Michigan got involved, maybe that's the one school that could do enough to kind of put themselves side by side with Oklahoma. But with the proximity factor and, again, Oklahoma believing in Sweat a lot earlier than some of the other top programs across the country, it still does feel like the Sooners are going to have to screw something up to not win this battle.
Sure.
Blake from Owasso asked, what's Camion Compton Nero's timeline?
Did he just condense that into Compton?
Yes.
Well done, Blake.
Camion Compton Nero, kind of in the same boat, man. Feels strongly about him winding up a Sooner. Not sure exactly when he's going to lock it in. Not sure when he's going to call it quits with his recruitment. But yeah, I mean, this 2028 in-state class, you're starting to see names crop up. Big-time players that Oklahoma may take an interest in or has taken an interest in. Gavin Wilson up at Bigsby is a guy we've talked quite a bit about. Connor Arendt, also at Bigsby, is somebody that I'm excited to see here before too long. And then how about another fella that I went up to see up in Piedmont over the weekend. King Underwood. Posted an interview with him up at Soonerscoop.com, but the fascinating dynamic with him and Oklahoma is that he's the grandson of Chew Kennedy. Steely right now would be fangirling if he were still in this studio listening to me talk about Chew Kennedy, because Chew Kennedy was an OU basketball star during the time that Steely was enrolled at Oklahoma. During the time that he was an OU student, Chew Kennedy was balling out for the Sooners on the hardwood. He is, to this day, the 5th all-time leading scorer in program history. Was a draft pick of the Boston Celtics after he wrapped up his career at Oklahoma.
Okay.
And King Underwood was a 6'4", 215-pound athlete up at Piedmont High. Said, yeah, my grandpa Chew, he really wants me to go to OU. He's always asking me to come train with him and get ready to go play at Oklahoma. Now, King Underwood doesn't have the OU offer yet, but he's got a Tennessee offer. He's got a Tulane offer. He's just transitioning to Piedmont after spending the first 2 years of his high school career at Cashion, which is a small school, obviously, up north of OKC.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be more exposure that comes with that. OU's well aware of King Underwood. They're monitoring his progress. With a guy like that, though, it's just hard for me to tell what he's going to be positionally, because I don't think he has enough speed to play defensive back or wide receiver at the next level. He's about a 4'7" guy at 6'4", 215.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to me, you know, talking to the coaches up at Piedmont, they think tight end might be the spot for him. I'll tell you what, though. Physically, you know who I look at that kid and you know who I see?
Who?
C.J. Nixon. He looks to me exactly like a young C.J. Nixon. And so I'm kind of enamored with the potential of packing, and it would have to be a substantial amount of weight, probably 40 pounds on that guy at least, and turning him into a defensive end.
Sure, but could you not just make this guy a linebacker?
You could.
Or, I mean, you mentioned wide receiver corner. He's too slow to do that. You know what they do with slow corners? They put him at safety.
Yeah, I don't think he's fast enough for safety either.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's fast enough to play defensive back.
You don't think he's fast enough to play DB, period?
Yeah, not right now.
Okay.
I mean, he'd have to get that speed up in a big way, I think, to be comfortable. For Oklahoma to be comfortable offering him for that position. Linebacker's a possibility. I would concede that. I just think the mentality that he plays with, it would translate well to edge rusher, I believe. He's one of those guys that, you know, and it's kind of hard to quantify, but he plays like he's got an edge rusher's brain more so than a linebacker's brain.
Sure.
Just watching the way he moves out there.
Yeah.
And so regardless of what he winds up being, he's a guy that's squarely on Oklahoma's radar. They've invited him down for a game day visit, and we'll see where things go. You have the family and the legacy aspect of things. It would be hard for a kid like that to tell Oklahoma no if they got involved. But that's the big question for me is, if Jim Nagy and company wind up comfortable pulling the trigger on an offer to a guy like King Underwood, where do they want him playing? And it's probably going to take some work if you want to turn him into a defensive end. Physically, he's more cut out for linebacker in the here and now, but that's a very difficult position to play cognitively for Brent Venables.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot on a guy mentally, and Underwood is still, I think, becoming a football player. He's a great athlete. He's still morphing into a football player. That metamorphosis has not reached its final form yet. He's a hooper, which, again, gets you excited for the athletic traits that a guy like that is going to bring to the gridiron. But he still needs to round into form as a football player for me.
Which is going to create another loophole that you're going to have to clear, or another hurdle, shall I say, in the recruitment that you're going to have to clear, in that not only do you have to convince him that this is the spot for you, you got to convince him of the developmental plan as well, that we've got a plan for you at this position, and we're going to develop you into a star doing this, because you can do so many things.
Spartan Sooner on the text line asked, Connor Arendt is being recruited as a defensive end, correct? No.
Tight end.
Oklahoma is actually pursuing him at tight end. Now, there was a time that I think, and it was kind of the same way with Caden Penny too, there was some internal discussion at Oklahoma as to whether it made more sense to pursue Caden Penny as a defensive tackle or as an offensive lineman, and they eventually decided, no, this guy's ceiling is higher on the offensive line, and so that's what they pursued him as. And similarly, I think when Oklahoma offered Connor Arendt, they weren't keen on any particular positional design for that guy. Mm-hmm. They just knew that the athlete was somebody that was going to be OU good by the time he graduated high school, and you're starting to see that with Connor Arendt. But in recent months, Jason Witten has kind of taken the lead role in that recruitment, and it's become clear that Oklahoma wants him at tight end. And they're in good shape with him, and they're in good shape with another blue-chip tight end in the 2028 cycle in Ridge Janes from St. Louis, Missouri. So as I mentioned last week, and I'll reaffirm it, it's looking like this offensive class for Oklahoma could come together pretty dang quickly with some of the guys that are already heavily leaning in the direction of being Sooners. And also how many of those guys are within state lines, too. Gavin Wilson, Connor Arendt, Kenyon Sweat, boom, there's 3 right off the rip that are likely to wind up in Oklahoma's class from the state of Oklahoma in the 2028 cycle. All right, folks, hit us up on the First Liberty Bank text line if you haven't already, 405-651-3439. Give us your feedback. Give us your thoughts. Ask us your questions. That's what it's about here on Locked In. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll be back with much more ahead. Keep it here.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Every day, 32 people in the U.S. lose their lives in crashes involving a drunk driver. That's one life every 45 minutes.
The victims aren't just numbers. They are mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters whose lives are forever changed.
From life-threatening injuries to years of recovery, the aftermath of a drunk driving crash can be devastating. If you or a loved one have been hurt by a drunk driver, you don't have to face it alone. Call McIntyre Law at 405-777-7000.
Good times are calling your name at the Showplace Theater with acts like Dave Attell, August 14th.
When I go over someone's house and they got that air freshener smell, who are you fooling?
Diamond Rio, August 28th.
We meet in the middle, beat that old Georgia pine.
And Gabriel Iglesias, September 18th.
What if someone tries to kidnap you?
Well, they're going to earn it.
Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
Hey, it's Chris Plank. Join TJ Perry and myself weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. with The Plank Show. Nobody covers every Sooner sport like we do here at The Ref. So make sure, from border to border and coast to coast, to download the K-Ref app, presented by Warren Cat. It's the best way to stay connected with the home of Sooner fans, no matter where you are. Simply search KREF from the Apple app or Google Play Store and take us with you everywhere. Download the app today. The K-Ref app, presented by Warren Cat, proud sponsor of Sooner Athletics.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Hi, everybody. Toby Rowland here for one of my favorite places to golf, the Trails Golf Club in Norman. The Trails offers great golf activities for the entire family. Men's and Ladies Golf Association events, summer junior golf for the kids, plus club fittings throughout the year. The Trails also has great family social events, monthly special dinners, plus holiday brunches and catering. When you're looking for the perfect place to golf, check out the Trails Golf Club in Norman. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-364-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
Hi, I'm Drew England with Keystone Property Management. Are you looking for your next place to call home in Oklahoma City or Edmond? Or are you needing a trusted team to manage your rental portfolio? We're here to help. Keystone Property Management is a full-service solution for leasing and managing high-quality rental properties. From marketing to tenant placement to owner solutions, we handle the details with professionalism. So call us today, 405-368-1836, or email me, drew.england@keystonepmok.com.
This is Jake Aldridge, partner at Aldridge Teasdale. We know accidents happen when you least expect them.
But if you're injured, your path to recovery and justice starts with the right attorney by your side. At Aldrich Teasdale, we understand that every injury is personal and that every story matters. You deserve an advocate who will fight for you. But don't wait. If you need medical assistance, you need to get it now, and we can help you with access to the best doctors in Oklahoma. Call Aldrich Teasdale today, 405-447-HURT. That's 405-447-4878.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
We're going to open segment number 2 with a text from Outlaw Devil because I think his text takes precedence. He said, "Been at home recovering from a heart attack, but still juiced for OU football." Goodness gracious, Outlaw Devil. Our prayers are with you.
Yeah.
Continue recovering. Please and thank you. He asked, "I'd like to know who will be the starting running back and wide receivers for the UTEP game." I tell you what, Grayson, I don't know if you've paid much attention to OU football's social media activity the past few days, but there seems to be a concerted effort on the part of the program to get the Trell Harris propaganda out there.
Yeah.
They're showcasing Trell Harris. They want people to know that dude's healthy, he is practicing, and he is making plays.
You know what's funny is that I bet you they're doing it in response to last week when you said we should probably pipe down on the Trell Harris hype train.
And there were plenty of fans who were already starting to have the conversation of whether or not Trell Harris was the next Jaden Ott.
They listened to our show all week, and they were like, you know what? We need to flip this narrative a little bit.
I like to think we have that much influence. In actuality, probably not. But, hey, we can dream. We can be delusional. That's what sports radio is about, isn't it? You're starting wide receivers for the UTEP game. Here's what I think. I think it's going to be, the simplest explanation is probably the correct one, and that is that Isaiah Satania, Trell Harris, and Parker Livingston are going to be the first 3 on the field at wideout.
Yes.
At running back, man, that has gotten interesting, really interesting, because for about the first week of camp, it felt like, okay, Lloyd Avant's got a pretty solid hold on this job. But ever since getting healthy, Xavier Robinson has done some really nice things, the types of things that you would expect from a guy that has run the way he has run in meaningful action for Oklahoma in the SEC before. But also, Jonathan Hatton, yeah, he's that guy, pal.
Do you think as we continue to go through the offseason and we approach the season, does every week move up the timeline for Jonathan Hatton's coronation as the number 1 back?
I said it a while back, and I will say it again. There's kind of an unspoken understanding amongst everybody in the Switzer Center that Jonathan Hatton is just going to be undeniable at some point. It's just a matter of when that is. It's not an if, it's a when. And that when may come a lot sooner than most of us initially anticipated. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. It's not like Oklahoma's running back room is hurting for depth or experience. Torrey Blaylock being hurt, though, here's what's ironic. Torrey Blaylock was the one guy who last fall benefited immensely from other guys' lack of availability. Now, he is the one guy in that backfield group that is sidelined. And everybody else, most notably Jonathan Hatton, is taking full advantage of the reps that Blaylock isn't getting to state their case for more playing time.
It's a wicked game, isn't it?
It's just how it goes, man. Dog-eat-dog world. Sometimes it ain't your fault. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. But if you're hurt, if you're laid up, if you're not out there practicing,
yeah,
there's somebody that is, and they're getting a chance to make the impression that you can't make because you're sidelined.
And by the way, ever since Dylan McCullough has gotten here, Blaylock's availability has been spotty. Because wasn't his availability kind of up in the air in the spring too?
He was dinged up in the spring too. OU Optimist asked, does Hatton give Derrick Henry vibes? Let's cool the jets on that.
Hey, yo.
There's only one Derrick Henry. And isn't Derrick Henry like 6'4" too? Like he's huge.
Yes.
Jonathan Hatton is big, but he's not huge. He's 6'1", 235 pounds, which is pretty dang sizable by running back standards.
He's a nicely built running back.
Yes. He ain't Derrick Henry, but if you're looking for a 3-down back in the Oklahoma backfield, if you're trying to identify the guy that Dylan McCullough could eventually trust with everything, no matter the situation, it is assuredly Jonathan Hatton.
Mm-hmm.
That is a guy that just has some special stuff, and that's no knock on anybody else that's in that room. And Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock and Lloyd Avant and Evan Walker, Andy Bass, they're all good players. They all got something that makes them special. But the Lord was smiling upon Jonathan Hatton when he created that young man because he is a little bit different. Now, as far as who the starting running back is for the UTEP game, going back to Outlaw Devil's question, right now I'm going to say X Robinson. I'm going to say Xavier Robinson. I think he's going to have the upper hand by the end of camp on Lloyd Avant for that role. But Jonathan Hatton is coming.
Yeah. It'll be up to everybody else to hold him off.
Pretty much. Brady from Kansas asks, guess the game week Hatton will be starting by. What do you think?
Red River makes a lot of sense.
It does. It's probably about that midseason mark, I would think, where things really, really start to ramp up for Hatton.
Uh-huh.
If it happens any sooner than that, then great, obviously. But by the midseason mark, I would think, based on the way things are trending right now, you're going to start to see a lot of Jonathan Hatton.
Mm-hmm. There's a bye week in between Georgia and Texas.
There you go.
That's why it makes all the sense in the world.
Somebody, and I lost the text. Somebody said starting to get a lot of 2004 Adrian Peterson vibes about this whole conversation. Now, here's what I don't want.
You know who else was giving Adrian Peterson vibes in the NFL preseason was Jeremiah Love.
Really?
A lot of people watch Jeremiah Love and like, whoa, that looks like Adrian Peterson.
Now, here's what I don't want. I want to be very clear about what we're saying and not saying here. Because I don't, after Jonathan Hatton runs for like 450 yards in his true freshman season, or even less, I don't want people coming back at us in December saying, y'all were making Jonathan Hatton sound like the second coming of Adrian Peterson. Because he ain't that. There is only one AD. There will only ever be one AD. But the thing about Adrian Peterson in 2004 was that he did not start out the season as Oklahoma's RB1. It was Kewan Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Kewan Jones was the starter, had played well for Oklahoma up to that point in his career, and just kind of got a raw deal because he had a generation, like the definition of a generational guy nipping at his heels that eventually overtook him. And you know what? Nothing you can do at that point. Are we kind of along that same parallel with Jonathan Hatton? I'm tempted to say the answer may be yes.
I mean, that's true. But let's at least let him strap on the uniform and the helmet at least once. I mean, training camp is training camp, and all intel is fun intel at this point in time. But I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, well, let's see it for a whole year. But let's see him let's at least see him lace him up.
Let me tell you, man.
On game day first.
Let me tell you, man. Oklahoma signed 25 freshmen. Of those 25, there are some that have done good things here and there throughout the offseason. There are two, I think, that are very quickly separating from the rest as the guys that, when all is said and done, will be considered retrospectively the crown jewel of Oklahoma's 2026 cycle. And those two guys are Jonathan Hatton and Noah Best.
And it seems like Noah Best's opportunity is going to come in pretty short order.
Noah Best very well may join some elite company, an elite fraternity 3 weeks from now. Because there are multiple positions, namely center and right guard, at which it is entirely possible Noah Best starts the season opener. And if he starts the season opener, he will become the second offensive lineman ever to start his debut as a true freshman for Bill Bedenbaugh. The only other one to do it was Drew Samia in 2015. That's it. It's the only other guy that's ever done it. That's how good Noah Best has been.
Sure.
I said it in the 12 o'clock hour. I will say it again. I have been covering the University of Oklahoma on a full-time basis for 8 years. In that time, the Sooners have had some pretty spectacular true freshman offensive linemen come through. Anton Harrison, Caden Green, Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje last year. Both of them were playing and starting as true freshmen in the SEC, which is very much the exception and not the norm when you look at Bill Bedenbaugh's track record and how he likes to lean on experience. I think to this point in camp, there has been more and stronger buzz on Noah Best than any true freshman lineman in the time that I've been covering the University of Oklahoma. That dude is very, very quickly becoming, and I will use this word again, undeniable. The Sooners are running out of ways to keep Noah Best off the field. Bill Bedenbaugh is running out of ways to keep Noah Best off the field. He's going to be in the two deep at minimum. I mean, you can bet anything on that.
Well, I mean, sure.
Is he going to be in the starting lineup week one? I mean, that's the conversation that we're having at this point.
Yeah. And I'm pretty and now that we're talking about this in this type of tone, Colby Cox on the YouTube chat says, "Don't bounce around it. Please rip the Band-Aid off of the Maikkula news. Read between the lines." I feel like we might be able to read between the lines. Have you gone in depth as to what you know about that at all, or no?
Yeah, he's going to miss some time, some substantial time.
Gotcha.
As best I understand it, and there's my colleague George Stoya over at Sooner Scoop did some exclusive reporting on that whole situation within the last hour or so about the Maikkula injury deal. But I think it's pretty well known at this point he's going to miss several weeks at least. The timetable, still a little bit iffy. But he's going to miss several weeks at least. And so the Sooners are not going to have him available for the season opener against UTEP. There is a starting job that is open right there, at least for the first few games of the season. And it's going to come down, in my estimation, to Noah Best and or Caleb Nita to be the Sooners starting center in week one.
Let me ask you this. You're really, really high on Noah Best.
Yes.
Who is a first-year center in the SEC. And we know what comes with playing center. It's not just blocking people. It's making the calls, being an extension of the quarterback to the offensive line. It's all those little intricacies. Do you think Noah Best plays so well that we've seen the last of Jake Maikkula?
No.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
All right.
Jake Maikkula is a guy that's too experienced and too valuable to just sit on the bench once he gets back ready to go.
And I agree with that.
Yeah. If Noah Best is playing well enough that you can't keep him off the field, I think his playing time, his continued playing time, comes at the expense of somebody else. Which is unfortunate any way you slice it. And it's going to take a lot if Michael is slotting back in as Oklahoma's starter at center. It's going to take a lot for him to force somebody else out of action at guard.
Yeah.
But I just don't see any way. I don't see any way that Jake Maikkula isn't snapping the football for Oklahoma the second he's back healthy. Especially because, like you said, there's a lot on the center. There's a lot of responsibility placed upon him every single snap of the football game. And so you want somebody in that position that you know can handle it, not just against UTEP and New Mexico, but, you get into those late-season showdowns against the Ole Misses and Texas A&Ms of the world.
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go with the guy that you know you can trust. And even if you have a few games, even if you have a body of work from Noah Best that indicates you can trust him, you know you can trust Jake Maikkula. And that's a big thing for Beatonbow and has always been. Experience and trust. So it kind of feels like Oklahoma's in a situation where they're going to have 6 or 7 guys that could start, because you got to consider Heath Ozaida's still in the mix. He's got 15 starts to his name in the SEC, and he's not even in the projected starting 5 right now, and wasn't even before this. And so it feels like Oklahoma has 6 or 7 guys that are going to be able to start, but you only got 5 slots. That's a nice place to be as a football team, especially in 2026, where, as we have discussed, it has become more and more difficult for all the programs across the P4 to stack depth in the offensive trenches. There are going to be at least a couple very deserving offensive linemen for whom I should say Oklahoma simply doesn't have room to accommodate with a starting spot, assuming they stay healthy. That's the asterisk that you got to put next to everything. It's paramount that the rest of this unit stays healthy, because Michael Fasusi still nursing that banged up shoulder. Ozaida missed a few practices with an injury issue of his own. Maikkula, as of right now, is the only new injury throughout fall camp that would be categorized as severe, substantial, and going to cost him time come the season. Even so, though, you don't want to lose anybody else on that offensive line. You lose anybody else, then things become a lot more difficult to try and figure out how you pass the time in the interim, how you glue the pieces together to make sure that you can keep it all together until a guy like Jake Maikkula is ready to get thrown back into the fire at full swing, full tilt, full thud, as Mike Gundy would say. 405-651-3439. That is the First Liberty Bank text line. Hit us up, get your questions in. You only got one more segment of me and Grayson before we're done for the day. So, what do you got? Let us know. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans, that's where you are. That's where we are. This is Locked In, which rolls on next.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Your annual checkup is important, but do you know what's happening inside your body? Lab work gives you the answers. At Norman Regional, getting your labs drawn is fast and simple. No referral needed. Multiple locations across Norman, Moore, Goldsby, and Newcastle, with same-day results for most tests. Give us a call. Our friendly local team is available 24/7 over the phone if you have any questions. Know your numbers. Know your health. Walk in, schedule online at normanregional.com or call 405-307-1100.
For over 30 years, CertaPro Painters has been part of countless memories. Every wall tells a story, and we've been proud to help write them. We are more than just your local painters, with care, craftsmanship, and certainty. From the first brushstroke to the final smile, our promise is simple. Your home, beautifully painted and worry-free. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Stay road trip ready during the Honda Summer Event at Eskridge Honda. Receive $2,500 off MSRP on all new 2026 Honda Odyssey EXLs or new 2026 Ridgeline RTLs. Plus, get 90 days no payment on every new Honda in stock. Save thousands today at 89th and I-35 or online at eskridgehonda.com.
Stock numbers 260765 and 260755. Dealer discount only, not contingent with Honda incentives. WAC through HFS expires 9/8/26.
I'm State Farm Agent Julia Chu, and you already know our office is a place to turn for your insurance and financial needs. Now that place has changed to 701 Wall Street. While the location may have changed, the commitment of our team is as strong as ever. So whether you already know us or want the one-of-a-kind service offered by the Julia Chu Agency, call us at 329-3311 or come visit at our new location, 701 Wall Street, right on the corner of Boardwalk and Wall Street in Norman.
No matter where you live, you care about one thing during bad weather: keeping your family and property safe. Scissortail Roofing and Construction is here to ensure just that. Whether it's damage from strong winds or a hailstorm, we will manage your residential or commercial project from start to finish. Call us today, 405-928-8089, or visit us online at scissortailroofing.com for a free estimate. Call Scissortail today, your trusted local roofing and construction company.
What's better than tailgating for football on the weekends? Let the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman make you a winner. Whatever you need, we have it. Don't worry about packing everything from home. Let us deliver it to you. Not only do we cater for football games, name the event, and it will be our pleasure to serve you. Need pre- or post-game meals? Having a birthday party? Monday through Saturday, we've got you covered. And even trays prep for those Sundays when you crave Chick-fil-A. Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A at 405-310-3189 today.
Need tree trimming, tree removal, storm work, or hazardous removals? Don't call those corporate guys or out-of-state companies that show up at your door or in your text messages. Williams Tree and Landscaping is KREF approved and have taken great care of our needs. Locally owned, licensed, and bonded, 5-star reviewed, and former KREFsports.tv athletes. Call Brady at 405-923-3297 or visit WilliamsTreeOKC.com for your free quote. These guys do great work at very fair prices and should be your call for all tree services.
How do you know you're home? At Habitat for Humanity, we believe it's when you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Not because of chance, but because of high costs and other very real barriers. A housing crisis this big needs all of us. So let's open the door to opportunity and build a tomorrow where home is possible for everyone. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. Again, that's Habitat.org. Habitat for Humanity. Let's open the door.
Final segment of Locked In here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton hanging with you on this fine Monday. Ryan in Jacksonville hit us up on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439 and asked if you're placing a bet, is Caleb Nita or Noah Best the Sooners' starting center in Ann Arbor, with the assumption that the rest of the O-line, minus Maikkula, is healthy? What do you think, Grayson? Who are you rolling with, Nita, Best?
You use the word undeniable. I mean, it's Noah Best. At some point, look, and here's the way you worded that when you were talking about in the last segment, maybe kind of stood out to me. You said they are running out of reasons not to put him on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Give me reasons to put some. I don't know. Like maybe is it just me or do I put more stock in? Give me the reasons to put you on the field more than my own concocted reasons as to why I should not. Noah Best, to me, has given them, if what you're saying is shared by the coaching staff, Noah Best is giving you all the reason to put him on the field.
Yes, indeed.
And let's be frank. You brought Caleb Nitta in. That's great. Caleb Nitta's, he's a little bit undersized.
At 6'2", 305.
Yeah, he's a little bit undersized, a little short. Whereas Noah Best, we know what he is. And if he's dominating like that, just run him out there, man. Just run him out there. You've got 3 more weeks left to get him ready for the season. And by the way, last year when you did this, it ended up being okay when Michael Fasusi had to be pressed into action a little bit quicker than we thought he was. Did he take his lumps? Absolutely. Did he get beat a couple times? Sure, absolutely. What he didn't do was get beat like a drum. That didn't happen. So you never know what's going to happen when you just go ahead and throw the hot hand out there, throw the guy out there that's ready. He's giving you reasons to put him on the field. Go ahead and put him on the field and just let the kid go to work.
It's kind of a fascinating conversation as to which of the two would start at center come the Michigan game if Oklahoma had to roll with one of the two. Because here's the thing. Caleb Nita is taking all of the first-team reps at center right now. The reason why, though, is because Noah Best is taking all the first-team reps at right guard.
Right.
Because Ryan Foje's over there at left tackle with Michael Fasusi still getting healthy. And so Caleb Nita's doing all the snapping. He's actually playing the position on the practice field.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Noah Best is playing alongside him. And that matters. At center specifically, that matters. Playing that position in particular matters. if we were talking about a battle at guard, I'm going Noah Best all day.
Sure.
But because we're talking center, and because Nita not only has the experience factor, but he's the one doing it on the practice field right now for the Sooners. Gosh, man. Feels like a little bit of a coin flip.
I get that. But let me ask you this. What's the ultimate goal when you're putting together a roster, when you're putting together a lineup? What's the ultimate goal?
Win football games.
Win football games. In your estimation, who gives you a better chance to win football games at center?
And again, okay, here is where philosophically you run into a fork in the road, right? Are you trying to win football games or are you trying to not lose football games? Because if you're playing to not lose, you go with the safe option, and the safe option's Nita. If you're playing to win, you go with Noah Best.
And how many of us are sick of Oklahoma's offense playing not to lose football?
It's an excellent point. It's an excellent point. Ryan in Jacksonville says, I do wish we had a seasoned junior or senior guard next to him to help with calls. Fabecci helped the young centers out. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
The Sooners, they will have Eddie Pierre-Louis right there on the center's knee. And I don't know how experienced you consider Eddie Pierre-Louis to be, but he does have almost a full season's worth of starting experience under his belt in the SEC. And the Sooners did send him to SEC Media Days, which I think is an indication that they trust him to step into a larger leadership role as a redshirt sophomore here in 2026. And so that helps. That helps. And the guard on the other side, again, assuming full health with the obvious exception of Maikkula, the other guard will be Ryan Fojek, who's somebody that's played quite a bit of ball too. So it's not like it's going to be Noah Best surrounded by a bunch of noobs on that offensive line. You know, he'll have experience on either side of him.
He'll have a decent enough infrastructure to help him be successful. Boom Sooner on the YouTube chat says, center needs to be intimately familiar with the offense. Very true. Except the problem is both of the dudes we're thinking about starting at center are in their first year with the offense.
Yeah, they're both brand new. I mean, Nita and Best have both been here since January, and that's it. 7 months in the system.
Yep.
So one of them's got to be ready. Who will that be? Who will the Oklahoma staff have more faith in when the time comes to make those tough decisions? We shall see. But I think it says a lot that Noah Best had been working at center a lot in practice throughout the spring and fall, but the second Oklahoma lost, I say lost, the second Oklahoma had to put Michael Fasusi and Heath Ozida on the shelf for a little while to get fully healthy, and there was a vacancy at right guard, they threw Noah Best in right there, and he flourished. And that's a guy that's just been he's been ready for whatever the staff has thrown at him. And he's attacked it, and he's owned it. And that matters. Outlaw Devil says, I just read that 4 2027 recruits are on the USA Today High School All-American team. Please share, Outlaw Devil. I would love to know. I don't keep up with a lot of USA Today's stuff anymore. I read that newspaper a lot back when it was still in physical print as a child, but I don't keep up with USA Today anymore. Let me know, though. I can hazard a few guesses as to which of the guys are probably on that list. Cooper Witten's a safe bet. Seneca Driver's a safe bet. You can make 5 guesses and probably hit all 4, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I found it. Courtesy of Sooners Wire. Caden Penny.
Makes sense.
Cooper Witten.
Makes sense.
Gabe Osborne.
Yep.
Taven Epps.
Ooh, okay.
3rd team All-American selection.
Okay. I wouldn't have hit on Taven Epps. Seneca Driver nowhere to be found?
No.
What in the world?
Let's see. The first team offense is the tight end is Ahmad Hudson.
Okay.
Out of the state of Louisiana.
Which is okay. Permissible. I'll allow it.
Yeah. I will say the entirety of this is pretty cut and dry. Osborne and Witten are both on the first team, as is Penny.
I guess I wouldn't expect Cooper Hackett to be on there because he's going to miss the majority of the year, if not the entirety of the year. I am surprised, though, that there is no Seneca Driver. Respect the pride of Danville, Kentucky. Respect the man. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
I know we talked about this a little bit before the show. If I told you that only 3 freshmen make the 2-deep for Oklahoma, and that those 3 were, in no particular order, Noah Best, Jonathan Hatton, and Josier Rogers at wide receiver. How you feel about that?
No surprise.
Is that
whatsoever.
about what you expect?
I would say yeah. Jake Krell seems like he's a year away from being on the initial 2-deep. I think he kind of is one of the few other ones. Deacon Schmidt, I thought might come up, but it doesn't look like Deacon Schmidt.
You know what? I could see that one too.
I mean,
if there was a 4th, it'd be him.
Yeah, if you could see it. I don't know if I would project it yet, but I could see it happening. So no, that doesn't surprise me one bit. Those would be the 3 that if you told me, hey, there were 3 on the 2-deep, unless maybe like Tate Sandell was named the 2nd-string kicker, those would be the 3 I would go with.
I kind of overlooked that one. Deacon Schmidt, I might go 4. I might go Deacon Schmidt as your backup right tackle.
Okay.
Because that's what he's been for the majority of camp and has gotten a little bit of first-team run as well. So Deacon Schmidt could be a 4th. But those are the 4 I would say I'm most confident in as far as cracking the 2-deep would be Hatton, Best, Josier Rogers, Deacon Schmidt.
What'd you think about the top 25 that came out today?
Oklahoma at 10, man. Feels about right. Feels apropos.
Yeah.
4 top 10 opponents on that slate for the Sooners. Georgia, Texas, Texas A&M, Ole Miss.
Keep this in mind as of right now.
As of right now. Yeah.
A&M was a little bit high to me. Other than that, I had no qualms with anything that I saw today, pretty much.
I've said before, I'm a believer in A&M. I'm drinking the maroon Kool-Aid. Much as I would not like to be a believer in A&M, I can't help but believe in Texas A&M heading into 2026. I think they're going to be a good football team. I would have them higher than Ole Miss, but that's just me. It's just one idiot from the state of Nebraska. And Joe Bob from Louisiana said, guy from Nebraska wants to talk down to Louisiana. State icon is a bug eater.
Is a what?
A bug eater.
What is a bug eater?
I don't know that that's the state icon. But the Nebraska Cornhuskers, before they were called the Nebraska Cornhuskers, were called the Nebraska Bug Eaters.
Were they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Long ago.
Ranger Jake says, Grayson, you were good at radio before you started all the tongue clicks and mouth noises. Please stop. Dari has started it too.
Tongue clicks and mouth noises.
What?
Listen.
Interesting.
Ranger Jake must be a very attentive listener.
I was about to say,
if you're doing any of that, I haven't heard.
I was about to say.
I haven't noticed.
I will take that under advisement, but okay.
By the way, Joe Bob from Louisiana, that first team tight end on the USA Today All-American team,
from the
Ahmad
state
Hudson,
of Louisiana.
from the state of Louisiana, he's committed to LSU right now. You know who's the most prominent threat to flip him? And that some experts are very credibly saying has strong odds to flip him? The University of Nebraska.
How?
It came down to Nebraska and LSU at the beginning in his recruitment. The first time he committed, well, I guess the only time he committed as of now. When he committed to LSU, it was a narrow margin. And Nebraska has continued pushing. They got him on campus for a summer OV. And that's a recruitment that I've had a lot of fun tracking from afar because he stayed true with his commitment to LSU, but Nebraska just will not go away. And he gave a really fascinating interview to my good friend Tim Verghese at Inside Nebraska recently, where he said, the program that you would expect to be recruiting me the right way isn't really recruiting me the right way, and the program that you wouldn't expect to be going above and beyond is going above and beyond. I'm paraphrasing. That's not a direct quote, but he basically said, yeah, LSU, they've just kind of mailed it in, and Nebraska's doing an outstanding job pursuing me. So that's kind of a fascinating, unexpected recruiting battle between the Huskers and the Tigers that no doubt will drag on into the season and potentially beyond.
What do you think ends up happening? Do you think he stays with LSU?
I think he stays with LSU. I just have a hard time believing a kid like that grew up in the boot is going to bail for the land of the corn. Much as I love it, that is my home state, but if I were in Ahmad Hudson's shoes, it would be LSU for me. If I had the unconscious Louisiana bias from birth, which I do not have, but if I put myself in the shoes of somebody who grew up in Ruston, Louisiana, yeah, I'm a Tiger for sure. All right, folks, that's all she wrote for today's installment of Locked In. The Rush is next with Teddy Lehman and Tyler McComas. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Take it easy.
Football, you love it, we love it.